All right. So, hi, good evening, Maya. Welcome to our class, LMS AT2 A7. All right. So again, I'll be your teacher for this evening, Miss Cha of Alaska English. All right. So, Maya, how are you tonight?
I think I'm good.
Okay. So, I'm happy that you're feeling good. Okay. So, can you tell me what's the weather like right now in your country?
Weather
The weather. Yeah. How can you describe the weather?
is no hot and no cold.
Ah,
It's
so
warm.
it's just warm. Okay. Right now it's hot in Philippines. I'm turning on my fan because it's getting hot. All right. So anyway, so with this, if you could still remember last meeting, we were able to tackle about the irregular past. And what did you learn about it? What are the three ways to identify the irregular verbs? How can
Um
you distinguish them? The
is
first one
is the same.
same, same spelling. Very good. Next, second
Um
one is
Second is change spelling.
change in spelling.
And three is said check same spelling. Oh, different sound.
Same spelling, different sounds. Actually, there's four.
So, same sound. Oh, different spelling.
Okay, so same spelling, for example, I'll give you one. So we got put, right? Change in spelling, for example, we have fly, flew. Change in spelling. Same spelling, different sound. Read, read. Same sound, different spelling. We've got run, run. Okay? Do you agree with me?
Yeah.
All right. So in that way, this is the reason why they are called irregular verbs. They are called irregular verbs because, as what I've said, compared to the regular verbs wherein we just add D or ED to the end of the word. In this one, this is very complicated, right? It follows a lot of rules. Imagine when we talk about the irregular past verbs, we are following four rules, right? So which is a bit complicated, all right? So anyway, so the homework that I gave you is this one. All right. I want you to help Miss Cha identify, all right, the past form of the verb am.
Is was.
All right. Am is was. Are,
Is was.
do,
Do it did.
go,
Go went.
eat,
Is ate.
have,
Had.
make,
Met.
take,
Took.
see,
Saw.
fly,
Flew.
sell,
Sold.
tell,
Told.
find,
Fold.
send.
Sent.
All right. How about this one? Buy.
Uh, Bought.
All right. Buy, bought, bring,
Brought.
teach,
Taught.
think.
Told.
All right. Swim.
Swam.
Change the vowel. All right. Get,
Got.
run,
Run.
Wake,
Break. Walk.
ride,
Road.
rise,
Race. Rose.
sing,
Song.
come,
Came.
give,
Gave.
know,
New.
blow,
Blow. Blew.
okay, drink,
Drink.
write,
Wrote.
draw,
Draw. Drew.
okay, sit,
Sat.
all right. How about this one? Sleep,
Slept.
all right. Keep,
Kept.
sweep,
Swept.
all right, good. So with this one, as you can see, what makes it hard to remember the irregular verbs? It's like it doesn't follow a certain rule, or I mean, it doesn't follow a certain pattern. All right, what makes it challenging is up to you or to the learner, all right, to be familiarized, or it takes a lot of studying when it comes to making them or transposing them into their past tense, right? And it's a bit challenging, but as you speak the language, as you read a lot, all right, it will be very helpful for you to be familiarized with it. Because if you're familiar with it already, it will come to you naturally. You don't need to memorize, it will just came out naturally. So just familiar with it, more reading, more writing, more speaking. It would be easy for you to remember it all. Okay? So
Yeah.
anyway, so also, teacher was able to give you this homework. I told you to have an introduction about the discovery of Antarctica. Okay, so tonight is going to be a bit boring, okay, because we're going to read, okay, the discovery of Antarctica. All right. So, by the way, with this, you can go focus on scanning. All right. Scanning the text for specific information. Meaning, when you say scanning, you don't need to remember everything. All you have to do is to scan, meaning filter out. Filter out the most important information regarding the reading material. So, some questions ask you to look for specific information in a text. You don't need to read all the words to find it. So before you read the text, read the questions and underline the keywords in them. This helps you to find the correct information in the text. So that is one technique. So one technique when it comes to scanning is for you to read the text or the questions first. So meaning these are the questions that you need to answer. Who was the winner of the race to the South Pole? Why do people admire Captain Scott? So meaning these are the two highlighted questions yet that you need to find out. All right. This is your main goal to answer these two main questions. Okay. So with that one, oh, are you writing it?
Yeah.
All right, okay. So, by the way, with this, I have here, check it out. So find these words and check their meaning. All right. So again, I apologize in advance if the translation isn't correct. I am just guided by my best friend, Uncle Google. All right. So every translation is just from Mr. Google. All right. So I just try my best to copy paste and translate it this one. So anyway, so I have here some background notes. Maya, take note. Ernest Shackleton, 1874-1922. This is the Vietnamese translation on the right side, but I'm not 100% confident if it's translated correct. He was a British polar explorer who led 3 expeditions to the Antarctic. Roald Amundsen, 1872-1928, was a Norwegian explorer who was the first person to reach the South Pole in December 1911. Nobu Shirase, 1861 to 1946, was a Japanese army officer who led an expedition to the Antarctic from 1910 to 1912. Captain Robert Scott, 1868 to 1912, was a British naval officer who led an expedition to the South Pole. They reached the South Pole in January 1912, only to find out that they had been bitten there by Roald Amundsen. Scott and his four companions all died on the journey back from the pole. All right. So with this one, Maya, what I want you to do is, can you read it for me first?
Okay.
The discovery of Antarctica.
The discovery of Antarctica.
All right, kindly read.
Yeah. Antarctica is enormous frozen continent. The South Pole is very cold and windy, and there's snow and ice all year. In the 80s and 90s, many explorers went to Antarctica, including the British explorer Ernest Shackleton, Roald Amundsen from Norway, and Noble Series from Japan. Another very famous name in Antarctic history in British explorer Captain Robert Scott. Scott's first expedition began in, in 19,
19,
1901,
1901.
but there was terrible weather. It's wrong with and freezing temperatures. Scott and his men stopped their expedition before they reached the South Pole. Between 1910 and 1912, the Japanese explorer Noble Series and his men went on an expedition in Antarctica. They brought the
Edward the Seventh.
Edward 7 vessels, but they didn't reach the South Pole. Scott started his second expedition to the South Pole in 19, 1910 too. There was a race between him and Ross Amundsen to his right, the South Pole first. Scott and his men arrived there on January 17, 1790, and 12. But they found no evidence flag and measures from Amundsen. The Norwegians explorer and his men arrived at the South Pole several 33 days before Scott. Scott and his men started traveling back to camp again. The weather was terrible with strong winds and snow. His men were freezing and hungry, and tragically everyone died. They were only 18 kilometers from their base camp. There were many exhausted explorers, but people admired Captain Scott for his courage and determination. He wasn't the winner of the race to the South Pole, but he helped people to understand the extreme weather, geography, and geology of Antarctica.
All right. Okay. Let's practice the mispronounced words. 1890s.
1890s,
All right. British.
British,
All right. Roald Amundsen.
Royal Amundsen,
Yeah. Nobu Shirase.
Noble Series.
All right. This one is, you said a while ago 1901. That is also correct, but you could say 1901.
1901.
All right, because in English, sometimes when you are referring to the number zero, all right, zero, you can say zero, but simply you could say O. All right, yeah, O. For example, you're telling your number, cell phone number, 09. All right, it's the same with saying 09. It's the same thing. But for some, they say oh. All right. But, all right, Amaya, this one is only applied whenever you are referring to the digits. Okay? Referring on the date or the digits. But when you are writing in the formal writing, Viet, you don't say oh. All right? You write zero. Okay? In formal writing, you write zero. But on how you pronounce it, or meaning how you say it, zero, you can simply say oh. 1901. All right. So I just note this one. You say determination. Determination.
Determination.
All right. So I'm just highlighting or correcting you when it comes to pronouncing the words, okay? Because I remember one time when one of my teacher told me that we should respect on how to pronounce someone's name correctly, because when you pronounce the name, even the last name, wrong, meaning you are referring to a different person already, right? Because the name itself is that's who you are, that's your highlight. So that is the reason why sometimes, since as you know, in for example, in your case, you're a Vietnamese student, so there are times that in the Vietnamese pronunciation, it's not the same. For example, this one, if you're going to read it in English, right, it's read as Lin, right? English, Tieng Anh, Lin. But in Viet, it's Ling, right? It has the same sound, right? So meaning, so that is why the reason why some of the foreign teachers, they prefer to give you an English name to avoid confusion on the pronunciation. As well as this one. If you're going to read it in English, Pong, right? But in Vietnamese, it's Pom, right? So that is why there are some sounds that is hard to pronounce and will differ in sound and the spelling. All right, that's what makes your Vietnamese name unique. All right, so the same thing with me. Actually, Cha is not my first, that's not my real name. All right, so actually my real name is this is my real name. Okay, so the reason why I have the nickname Cha, because when I was in Vinh City, the Vietnamese people tend to mispronounce the S as T. Instead of saying Cheska, they pronounce this as Chetka. The S sounds like letter T. Yeah, because some of the Vietnamese people, all right, are not fluent, or the S sound is not heard very well. So enable for the Vietnamese people to not to mispronounce my name, I tend to call it Cha. Though I know for a fact Cha means father in Vietnamese, right? But to make it easier to my students as well, because not all the students is very fluent in pronouncing the S. All right. So that is why I correct you when you say, because a while ago you say Novo Shirase, right? That will be a different person, right? So it's Novo Shirase. All right. Okay. So now what we're going to do next is this one. Maya, we're going to read it again, but this time we are going to analyze it per paragraph. Meaning, we are going to analyze deeply what happened to the discovery of Antarctica. Okay? So, I'll be reading it for you. So, Antarctica is an enormous frozen continent at the South Pole. What do we mean by enormous, Maya?
Enormous.
Meaning, what is enormous? Enormous means huge, big. All right. Okay. So it says in here, Antarctica is a big frozen continent at the South Pole. That is also a technique. All right. So though we are doing this online, all right. So next time, whenever you encounter an alien word, Miss Cha, what do you mean by alien word? When you say alien word, meaning words that is not familiar with you, meaning you don't know the meaning. All right. From that then, all right, from that very moment, you need to write the word already. Okay. Write the word or underline your book. All right. Because how can you understand the entire piece if on the first line you don't know already the meaning? What is enormous? So, all right. So the tendency is it would be very hard for you to comprehend what you're reading if you don't analyze them per piece. Okay. So that is also one technique. It's it takes a lot of time, yes. But the thing is, all right, if you're doing or you're reading it alone, the tendency is you will be challenged. That will be your mannerism already. Meaning y- back in your head it's like, what's the meaning of that, teacher? What's the meaning of that? Can you tell me what's the meaning of that word? And then once you know it already, you read it again the second time around, you understand it better, right? Do you agree with me? All
Yeah.
right. Okay. So Antarctica is a big frozen continent at the South Pole. It's very cold and windy, and there's snow and ice all year. So meaning in Antarctica, there's no sunny moments. Winter, snow. Okay. In the 1890s, many explorers went to Antarctica. So it is mentioned, all right, it is very cold and Antarctica is very popular. It so happened there are a lot of explorers tries to visit the Antarctica. The first one, British explorer Ernest Shackleton. Remember, he is a British. Next, Roald Amundsen from Norway, the second explorer. The third explorer, Nobu Shirase from Japan. And then another very famous name in Antarctic history is British explorer Captain Robert Scott. So how many explorers were mentioned, Maya? How
What
many
is?
explorers were mentioned? We've got
Um,
how many?
mm,
You need to be alert. We have one one British. Okay, let's remember Ernest Shackleton. Second, who is the second one?
mm, Scott's first expedition began in
Hmm, Maya. We're on the first paragraph. First paragraph first. Who are the explorers? Next is Roald Amundsen from Norway. So his country is Norway. Kuktik meaning his nationality is Norwegian. All right. Norwegian. All right. Norwegian. Second explorer. Next, the third explorer that's mentioned is Nobu Shirase from Japan. Kuktik, what is his nationality if he's from Japan? Maya. Meaning he
mm,
is
Japanese.
Japanese. So that is Nobu. Next, the fourth explorer that is mentioned is the Antarctic history is British explorer. Another British. What is his name?
Scott.
Yes, Captain Scott. All right. Now, so that's what you understand on the first paragraph. There are four explorers mentioned. So with this first paragraph, done. Let's proceed to the second paragraph. Scott's first expedition began in 1901. All right. So you're going to write Scott. All right. First expedition. All right. Maya, by the way, what we're doing right now is we are analyzing thoroughly. All right. Meaning we are chunking the ideas words per words, enable for us to understand fully the simple simple story like this. Okay, this is a technique. Actually, it takes a lot of time, but again, what's so good about this is you are analyzing it fully. All right. So here, what happened in the first expedition, Maya?
Mm.
It happened in 1901, and what happened?
1901, Scott's first evolution began. Mm,
With this, Maya, take a look at Miss Cha's diagram here. What I am doing is I'm not remembering everything. I am just getting the key words. Remember? No need to remember everything. See what happened? Scott, first expedition, what year? What happened? There's a terrible weather. Why it is a terrible weather? Because it has strong winds and freezing temperatures, meaning very, very cold. Okay. And then what happened next? What happened next is it says that Scott and his men stopped their expedition before they reached the South Pole. All right. With his men, all right. All right. So this is the only highlighted idea on the second paragraph. All right. So meaning on the first try, Scott on his first expedition in year 1901, the weather was terrible. His men stopped the expedition. Meaning the first expedition of Scott is failed. He didn't finish, right? He stopped. He stopped the expedition because of the terrible weather. All right. Maya, what do we mean by terrible?
terrible
Yes.
and is very bad.
Yes, it's very bad. Good. Now, we are jumping into the third paragraph. So, second paragraph, done. Third paragraph. Next, between 1910 and 1912, all right, so the introduction of the second explorer. We have the second explorer, the Japanese, Nobu Shirase. All right, Nobu Shirase in 1910. All right, Nobu Shirase, 1910 to 1912. So what happened in his expedition? All right, his men went to an expedition in Antarctica. It says they explored Edward Seventh Peninsula. All right, but they didn't reach the South Pole. All right. So for this one, Nobushirase from Japan, he tried to explore the South Pole in year 1910 to 1912. All right. They were able to explore the Edward VII Peninsula, but they didn't reach the South Pole, meaning they got lost. They got lost on their way. All right. For example, should turn right. Where they go, they went to the left side, meaning they got lost direction. So meaning Nobushirase from Japan failed. Okay? So he also failed from his expedition. Now, let's go to the fourth paragraph. Now, who is on the fourth paragraph?
Is Scott.
All right, so there we go. Here is Captain Scott again. So Captain Scott, supposedly this is his second expedition in what year, Maya?
1910.
1910. All right. So with this one, so there was a race. Take a look at this one. There was a race between him and Roald Amundsen to reach the South Pole first. Meaning, all right. So Captain Scott and the Norwegian, Norwegian explorer Roald Amundsen, they are having a competition. Meaning, who will win? Who will win or who will get first to the top of the South Pole? So they are competing with one another. All right. So with this one, on his second expedition, all right. So Scott and his men arrived there on January 17th, all right, 1912. All right. But sadly, they found a Norwegian flag and a message from Amundsen. So what happened is Scott, on his second expedition, he successfully finished from his expedition, meaning he was able to get in there. He was on top of the South Pole. But the sad news, he lost the game. Why? Because when he went there, all right, the Norwegian explorer and his men arrived at the South Pole 33 days before Scott, meaning Roald Amundsen is the first one. And then after 33 days, here comes Scott. So Scott is the second one. Roald Amundsen from Norway is the very first explorer who reached the South Pole. Okay? So with this one, second expedition, 1910, arrived in January 17, 1912. All right. So Roald Amundsen reached, all right, this arrived, say arrived. Arrived 33 days before Scott. Meaning, after a month or last month, for example, right now, last month, Amundsen was here already. So Amundsen was the first one. All right. Can you still follow?
Yes.
All right. Now, so with this one, so the race was successfully done, right? In the second expedition. He arrived in 1912 again, but sadly, the winner is Roald Amundsen because he arrived there 33 days before Scott. Okay. Now, this is the next part. Let's jump into the fifth paragraph. Scott and his men is traveling back to camp. Again, the weather was terrible. This one. So, and the idea for this one, Scott and his men is traveling back, meaning they're going back home. The race is done. They already finished the race. Scott and his men is traveling back, all right, again to camp. But um, what happened on the way going back to the camp? What is the weather?
The weather was terrible.
Okay, so the weather is terrible. So what happened?
Strong winds and snow.
All right, and then what happened to his men?
His men were freezing and hungry,
And
and everyone died.
yes, do you know the meaning of tragically?
No.
It's like very bad, in a very bad situation. Tragically, worst. See? So they are freezing, they are hungry, in a worst situation. Tragically, they all died. Okay? So they were only 18 kilometers from their base camp. Okay? So meaning 18 kilometers before they reach the base camp. Only 18 kilometers left. And then they died on the way going back to their camp. All right. So for example, this is Scott and his men, and this is the base camp. They only got 18 kilometers left to the base camp. All right. They got only 18 kilometers. But sadly, they all died in here. They weren't able to reach the base camp. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, now, so with this one, so there were many, as we tackle, there were many Antarctic explorer, but people admire Scott for his courage and determination. All right. So let's now analyze. Um, so people admire Captain Scott. Why?
Mm. um,
For his.
Scott, courage, determination.
All right. So if you're going to ask me, teacher, what do you mean by courage and determination? Meaning, he is very eager. It's like no one can stop me. I'm going to finish the race. Meaning even though there are a lot of tragedies, it's very cold, they are very hungry, they didn't stop. They keep on going. All right? They didn't stop, meaning they have the determination to finish the race. Okay? So courage and determination, meaning it's like very brave somehow. So similarly like that, the thought, it's like even though there's a lot of hindrances that they encounter, right? So the weather is bad. They are very hungry, right? Of course, let's expect they are very tired, right? Because if the weather is very cold, so it's very uncomfortable, right? So meaning they are very tired, but they didn't stop, meaning they are determined to finish the race. All right. So that is the reason why he is admired by the people, because he wasn't the winner of the race to the South Pole, but he helped to understand the extreme weather, geography, and geology of Antarctica. So Captain Scott wasn't able to get alive upon the expedition, but his biggest contribution is people was able to understand that if the weather is really cold, right, you might get died, right? So that is his contribution. Tragically, what happened to them became a study. All right, that became also the understanding. All right, that became the biggest. It helps in understanding Antarctica as well. All right, that is why it says the discovery of Antarctica. All right, because of this explorer, Captain Scott. Okay, so now they understand that if the geography is very snowy and very cold, people might die with extreme weather if it's very cold. All right. So, Maya, are you familiar with geology?
um, Sociology.
What do you mean by geology?
Is um, mm,
Actually, when you say geology, it is like a study about the earth. So particularly with this one, we are referring to the country itself. Antarctica. So the geology or the geography is somehow the same. Study about a specific like for this in Antarctica. So it's like, the geology, it's like it's snowy, it has a lot of ice. So it's like how can I say that in English? All right. Let's see. It's hard to explain. I can say that in my in my mother tongue as well. All right. Okay. So it deals with the Earth's physical structure and substance, meaning it has a lot of ice. The geology of Antarctica made of ice, mountains. All right. So that is the geology. All right. It talks about it. All right. So, were you able to understand the story?
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm going to check. All right, what is the weather like in Antarctica? The weather is cold, windy, and snowing. Who was the winner of the race to the South Pole?
Is Captain Rupert Scott.
Are you sure? Do you understand the story? Who was the winner of the race?
Winner of the race. Miss Scott.
No, it's not Scott. He was able to finish it. What did I told you? He saw the
Oh no, son.
Roald Amundsen. So when Captain Scott went to the South Pole, he already finished it, right? He was able to go to the top of the South Pole. But sadly, Roald Amundsen, there is a Norwegian flag already. There's a Norwegian flag, meaning they are the first one to go there. And take a look on the end part. See? He wasn't the winner of the race to the South Pole, right? But he helped people to understand. Yeah, so that's the mm. Number two. Why do people admire Captain Scott?
Mm, because God is courage in this mission.
Because for his courage and determination. All right, good. Okay, let's see. Oh, all right. So, with this Maya, I was able to give you this one, right? I told you to you can review this. Okay, as what I've
Yeah.
said, no need to read everything because you can do this on your own. This is very comprehensive. So let's skip that part. All right. So with this one, what you're going to do next is let's check the time. We still have 2 minutes, Maya. So on the second activity, all you need to do is to correct the mistakes. By the way, sentence 1 to 6, the sentence is all mistake, meaning all of them are wrong. What you're going to do is you're responsible to make them correct, change the following in their correct form, okay? Or make the statement factual. For example, this one, Antarctica is at the North Pole. The mistake is North Pole. It should be Antarctica is at the South Pole. Hmm. Tell me when you're ready.
Yes.
Maya, can we answer at least number one?
Yes.
All right. Mm. Read the sentence.
Um, at, Antarctica has freezing temperatures.
All right. So mild should be freezing. Number two.
Number two, um, Captain Scott traveled to Antarctica for the first time in 1901.
All right. Good. Number three.
Mm, he went to Antarctica um, second times.
Twice, meaning two times.
Try.
Twice. Two times. Hmm.
Mm,
Four.
for the human is
Who has the race, or who is competing with Scott? What nationality? Coptic? Is it German?
is Scottish.
It's it should
Mm,
be.
is Scottish.
Is it Scottish? Are you sure? It's on right here. Maya.
Mm, Scot-
Scott was his surname, right? Like you. Truong. That's Scott. That is the last name. Meaning Coptic. What nationality? Is it German?
mm, mm,
He is from Norway. Meaning, what is his nationality?
no way.
He is Norway, a Norwegian.
Then,
Okay. How about number five?
number five.
Scott
Mm,
reached the South Pole about a month before Amundsen.
by scoring the South Pole. No. Amundsen reached the South Pole about a month before Scott.
Excellent. And the last one,
Mm, see,
Scott
Scott
and
and
his
his
men
men died at the Antarctica.
at at the
As
South
the
Pole. All
Antarctica.
right. Scott and his men died on their way back from the South Pole, right? Remember, 18 kilometers from their base camp, they died already. Okay? So for example, mm, this is the base camp, Maya. This is the base camp. On the way there, they got 18 kilometers. 18 kilometers left and they are at the base camp. But sadly, they died here. 18 kilometers before they reached the base camp.
Okay.
All right, Roy?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So with that, sadly, we don't have much time, Maya. So for your homework, okay, so I want you to have an advanced reading about, all right, congratulations. We are now at Unit 4. In Unit 4, did you like the movie? All right. So with this one, for next meeting, I'm going to give you some quick review. All right. So also with having or talking about the order of events. Okay, so we're going to talk about that as well. And again, have an advanced reading about Unit 4. Do you have any questions, Maya?
No.
No? All right. So for that, I'll take that as an answer. that, it's time for me to say goodbye. All right. So, Maya, the more I would love to learn with you, but sadly, time's up already. But anyway, we're going to see each other again on Sunday.
Sunday.
All right. Okay. So again, so that will be all for this evening. Thank you for learning with me tonight. So I hope you learned something. So Tambiet and have a good night. Goodbye, Maya. See you on Sunday.
Bye.
Have a good night.